Visham Bhavati Kannidam and Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. These are three important dictums which we derive from Upanishad, which talk about universal humanism. So I think to the global listeners and also to those who are listening to this particular program, my message is that by making Vishwabharati heritage, we are actually contributing to global humanity.
Live from New Delhi, you're watching the India News Hour, India's voice to the world with me, Deepika, coming up in the next 1 hour. NSA Ajit Doval says there has been peace and tranquility at the border, confirms Prime Minister Modi's visit to China for SCO summit, further highlights 75 years of India-China ties. Astronaut Shubhanshu Shukla meets Prime Minister Narendra Modi, gifts the tricolour he carried to space. Prime Minister says India proud of his feat. Russia's president agrees to meet Ukrainian counterpart within next 2 weeks at a yet-to-be-determined location. Trump agrees to extend another invitation for a three-way meeting afterwards. Good afternoon to all the viewers joining us at this afternoon broadcast. To begin with the latest and the biggest, India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval and Chinese Foreign Minister Wang held the 24th round of the Special Representatives talks on the India-China boundary question in New Delhi. NSA Doval, in his opening remark, said that there has been an upward trend in India-China relations and bilateral engagements, stressing that the borders have been quiet and there has been peace and tranquility.
There has been an upward trend. Borders have been quiet. There have been peace and tranquility. Our bilateral engagements have been more substantial. And we are most grateful to our leaders who, in Kazan, in October last, were able to set a new trend. And we have profited a lot since then. The new environment that has been created has helped us in moving ahead in the various areas that we were working on.
Further, NSA Doval said the SR-level talks assumes a very special importance since Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be visiting for the SCO summit shortly.
Our Prime Minister will be visiting for the SCO summit shortly, and therefore I think that this SR-level talks assume a very special importance. This is the 75th year of our diplomatic relations, and it's a time to celebrate. And we find that with this new energy and the new momentum, that it is this thing being your personal efforts and with the maturity and the sense of responsibility of our diplomatic teams and our missions in the countries, your ambassador here, and also our armies on the borders, we have been able to make it this thing.
Earlier on Monday, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and Chinese Foreign Minister Wang held a meeting in New Delhi. And during the talks, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar said that discussing border issues is very important because that is the basis for any positive momentum in India-China ties to maintain peace and tranquility in the border areas. Further, the two leaders held discussion on economic and trade issues, pilgrimages, people-to-people contacts, river data sharing, border trade, connectivity and bilateral exchange. They also exchanged views on global and regional issues.
the basis for any positive momentum in our ties is the ability to jointly maintain peace and tranquility in the border areas. It is also essential that the de-escalation process move forward. Excellency, when the world's two largest nations meet, it is natural that the international situation will be discussed. We seek a fair, balanced, and multipolar world order, including a multipolar Asia. Reform multilateralism is also the call of the day. In the current environment, there is clearly the imperative of maintaining and enhancing stability in the global economy as well. The fight against terrorism in all its forms and manifestations is another major priority.
And Jessica joins us for more. Good afternoon, Jessica. Bring us up to speed with the latest developments.
Well, you heard from NSA Doval talk about how this relationship needs to move forward, especially when it comes to demilitarization and de-induction, especially with the infrastructure built up along the border areas. There have been quite a few concerns from the Indian side when it comes to peace and tranquility at the border, and that's why you'd see maximum emphasis on, as has been the case in the past as well. And if you'd recall, this meeting is now taking place as was decided when NSA Doval had visited Beijing last year in December for the special representative talks, and the first after the 2020 dispute and issues. And perhaps this visit of Wang also gains a lot of significance because this is the first visit by the Chinese minister since 2022, as well as he was due to meet the Prime Minister. He'll meet the Prime Minister soon in the evening, as we're given to understand. But this meeting certainly gains more significance is the fact that Wang Yi is here to discuss on a multitude of issues and concerns that India also has, especially related to rare earth minerals as well as fertilizers, where assurances have been given by the Chinese foreign minister. There will be issues, and these issues particularly will be addressed sooner or later. But the focus being on the disengagement at the border, particularly what was achieved during that disengagement pact right before the BRICS summit in Kazan, where Prime Minister Modi and President Xi Jinping had met, and that perhaps laid the path forward to sort of ease the tensions between the two. And you also heard from Dr. S. Jaishankar a short while ago, yesterday, that there has, when the two one of the two largest countries meets, certainly they'll have important issues when it concerns the international order and the international relations would surface, and that has been the case as well. Both India and China face potential tariffs from the United States, and negotiations still continue, but that wasn't the centrality of this entire engagement. The centrality continued to be on the disengagement at the border and how to potentially move forward from those dispute resolutions now towards a solution where both the countries could go and enhance trade.
Also, Jessica, tell us about this meeting as it comes right ahead of the SCO summit, and how important are these engagements given the current geopolitical developments?
That's correct. China will host the SCO Leaders Summit in Tianjin in another 10 days, and it is important where the Prime Minister will be in Tianjin attending the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit, where China is the chair this year and is the host. Well, there are a lot of expectations from that summit as well, but not speculating at this point. But the way the India-China relationship is moving forward, there are of course tensions at the border, but at the same time we have seen certain things change, especially since 2020, whether it's the resumption of Kailash Mansarovar Yatra or the talks of figuring out the modalities of direct flights between the two countries. So certainly, and the issues that the Indian businessmen and the Indian industrialists have faced when it comes to China's control of rare earth minerals, these potential issues have also been discussed. But with the summit heading closer, India's engagement not just with China but also the Central Asian countries becomes very important and significant in multilateral summits like these. And of course, when it comes to the Prime Minister attending the summit, we'll have more details for our viewers then.
All right, thank you so much, Jessica, for joining us. Now let's go across to Ambassador Pinakranjan Chakravarti, who is the former Secretary of Ministry of External Affairs. Good afternoon, sir. Now, talking about this very important meeting at the Special Representatives meeting, NSA Ajit Doval said that they are looking forward to a positive outcome on the border issues. He further stressed on India-China's diplomatic ties, and in addition to that, the handshake between Doval and Wang was also very warm and promising. Ahead of Prime Minister Modi's visit for the SCO summit, what does your assessment say on the pace of development between India and China?
Well, the body language, as you mentioned, was good for the camera. But the pace of development, one should not, jump to conclusions and, be sanguine about the pace that it is going to go ahead. Everything will be fine. That's now how China actually deals with different countries. And India and China have a long history of the border problems, which got disturbed after almost 30 years. And so that was a difficult moment for both countries, I think. And that's what Foreign Minister Wang also said, that there have been difficult times. We have also said that there have been difficult times. But today, I think these talks indicate that there are positive aspects that can be dealt with and revived some of the old, kind of connectivities or trade or investment, visits, business, air flights, Mansarovar Yatras. So some of these things which existed before can be revived, because there is, I think, a certain degree of, mutual, attempt to get back to the normality that was there before the Galwan incident. And of course, the border talks will go on. The National Security Advisor is our special representative, and many rounds have taken place. I think what we have been saying, and for quite some time, that status quo before the April incident at Galwan should be restored. That is where it had held for the last 30 years. And we have been asking for that, asking for the patrol points to be restored, so which has not really been done fully. Partly it has been. So I think those are some of the issues that are going to come up. As far as the long-term solution of demarcating the border, I think that is too early still, because both sides, nationalistic feelings and claims, etc., are there. So I think that will have to wait. But I think a tranquil border, which has been mentioned by Dr. Jaishankar, is a what shall I say, the factor, or the very important factor in improving relations. That point has been.
All right. And also, Wang is also expected to present the outline of the upcoming SGO summit to Prime Minister Modi later today. And India's stand on terrorism has been very clear and vocal. How this particular summit will shape the agenda, especially on cross-border terrorism?
Well, I think India has been raising the terrorism issue with China. China itself has suffered from terrorist attacks in Pakistan. And there have been difficulties between the two countries on this issue also. But then China protects Pakistan in many ways. They call themselves blood brothers and iron brothers and things like that. China's strategic interests in Pakistan remains very strong with the BRI and the CPEC, the Gwadar port. So many issues that China has a deep interest in Pakistan. And so does Pakistan, because Pakistan is beholden to China for loans, for weapons, and they are today, I think, 70–80% of their military is dependent on China, weapons, hardware, and spares, and things like that. So Pakistan also thinks that its hostile role towards India helps China to contain India, and it remains a proxy for China, which they think gets China to provide them certain facilities and, cheap weapons and loans, etc. Although that, how long can China continue is a moot point, because in terms of trade, etc., investments, the India-China relationship is far more larger in terms of trade and investments and manufacturing. And so I think both sides cannot ignore that. There are some special inputs that we need for our own economy, fertilizers, rare earths, magnets, and APIs, and many things which go into the manufacturing, industry in India. And that China uses that and to sort of leverage its relationship with India and with the US. For example, it stopped rare earths exports when President Trump went on the rampage on the tariff, tariff front, raising tariffs, etc. So I think that is the current situation. That's how I look at it.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us and bringing us a rounded perspective on this very important latest development. Now, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will undertake a 3-day official visit to Russia from today. Visiting at the invitation of First Deputy Prime Minister Denis Mantovov, Dr. S. Jaishankar will co-chair the 26th session of the India-Russia Intergovernmental Commission on Trade, Economic, Scientific, Technological and Cultural Cooperation, scheduled for the 20th of August. External Affairs Minister will also address the India-Russia Business Forum meeting in Moscow. During the meeting, External Affairs Minister will also meet his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov and review the bilateral agenda and share perspective on regional and global issues. The visit aims at further strengthening the long-standing and time-tested India-Russia special and privileged strategic partnership. Time to take a short break, but still to come on the other side. Up next, we'll get you the latest details on the ongoing monsoon session of the Indian Parliament. After the break, we'll get you the important highlights from today's NDA parliamentary meeting. And Maharashtra continues to reel under the impact of heavy rains. Welcome back after that short break. You're watching the India News Hour. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday met Shubhanshu Shukla at his official residence in New Delhi, marking a moment of pride for the nation. During the meeting, the two discussed a wide spectrum of subjects, including Shubhanshu Shukla's experiences in space, India's stride in science and technology, and the country's ambitious human spaceflight program, Gaganyaan. Reflecting on the transformative experience of space travel, the Prime Minister remarked that after undertaking such a significant journey, one must feel a change, and he sought to understand how the astronauts perceive and experience this transformation. Responding to the Prime Minister, Shubhanshu Shukla stated that the environment in space is distinctly different, with the absence of gravity being a key factor. Take a listen.
जब इतनी बड़ी यात्रा करके वापस पहुंचते हैं,
जी सर,
काफी कुछ चेंज फील होता होगा। जस्ट मैं समझना चाहता हूँ वो किस प्रकार से अनुभव करते हैं आप लोग।
सर जब ऊपर भी जाते हैं तो वहाँ का जो वातावरण है, एनवायरनमेंट है, वो अलग है, ग्रेविटी नहीं है।
आप जाते हैं उसमें तो वो सीटिंग अरेंजमेंट वैसा ही रहता है, जो
वैसे ही रहता है सर।
और पूरे 23-24 घंटे उसमें निकालना पड़ता है।
हाँ सर, लेकिन एक बार जब आप अंतरिक्ष में पहुंच जाते हैं तो आप सीट खोल के, अपना हार्नेस खोल के आप उसी कैप्सूल में आप मूव अराउंड, आप जा सकते हैं, इधर उधर चीजें कर सकते हैं।
इतनी जगह है उसमें?
बहुत तो नहीं है सर, लेकिन थोड़ी बहुत है।
मतलब आपका फाइटर जेट का कॉकपिट है, उससे तो ज्यादा अच्छा है।
उससे तो ज्यादा अच्छा है सर। बट पहुंचने के बाद सर काफी कुछ चेंजेस होते हैं, जैसे पूरा आपका हार्ट स्लो हो जाता है, तो वो कुछ बदलाव होते हैं और वो फिर लेकिन 4-5 दिन में बॉडी आपकी यूज्ड टू हो जाती है, वहां आप नॉर्मल हो जाते हैं। और फिर जब वापस आते हैं तो फिर वही दोबारा से वही सारे चेंजेस, आप मतलब चल नहीं सकते वापस आते हैं, तो चाहे आप कितने भी स्वस्थ हो। मुझे बुरा नहीं लग रहा था, मैं ठीक था, लेकिन फिर भी जब पहला कदम रखा तो मैं मतलब गिर रहा था, तो लोगों ने पकड़ रखा था मुझे। फिर दूसरा तीसरा, हालांकि मालूम है कि चलना है, लेकिन वो ब्रेन जो है वो उसको टाइम लगता है सर वापस समझने में कि अच्छा अब ये नया एनवायरनमेंट है, नया वातावरण है।
यानी सिर्फ बॉडी का ट्रेनिंग नहीं है, माइंड का ट्रेनिंग ज्यादा है।
माइंड का ट्रेनिंग है सर, बॉडी में ताकत है, मांसपेशियों में ताकत है, लेकिन वो ब्रेन की रीवायरिंग होनी है, उसको दोबारा से ये समझना है कि ये नया एनवायरनमेंट है, अब इसमें आपको चलने के लिए इतनी ताकत लगेगी या इतना एफर्ट लगेगा, वो वापस से समझते हैं सर।
The Prime Minister asked Shubhanshu about how the international astronauts reacted upon meeting an Indian astronaut. And Shukla said people were genuinely happy and they were well informed about the country's progress. He further added that his crewmates expressed that their desire to be invited to the launch and to travel aboard India's spacecraft.
पहला एक बार एक कोई भारतीय आया
जी सर,
तो भारतीय को देख करके उनके मन में क्या रहता है, क्या पूछते हैं, क्या बात करते हैं, ये बाकी जो दुनिया के देश के लोग होते हैं।
जी सर, मेरा पर्सनल अनुभव जो रहा है सर पिछले 1 साल में, मैं तो जहाँ भी गया, जिससे भी मिला, सभी लोग बहुत खुश हुए मुझसे मिलके, बहुत एक्साइटेड थे बात करने में, आके मुझसे पूछने में कि मतलब आप लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, कैसे कर रहे हैं। और सबसे बड़ी बात ये थी कि सबको इसके बारे में मालूम था कि भारत स्पेस के क्षेत्र में क्या कर रहा है, सबको इस बारे में जानकारी थी। और सब मुझसे ज़्यादा तो कई लोग थे जो गगनयान के बारे में इतना एक्साइटेड थे, जो आके मुझसे पूछ रहे थे कि आपका मिशन कब जा रहा है। एंड मेरे ही क्रूमेट जो मेरे साथ थे, मुझसे साइन करवा के लिख के लेके गए हैं कि जब भी आपका गगनयान जाएगा आप हमें इनवाइट करेंगे और लॉन्च के लिए, और उसके बाद जल्दी से जल्दी हमें आपके व्हीकल में बैठ के जाना है। तो मुझे लगता है सर कि बहुत ज़्यादा उत्साह है।
Prime Minister Modi sought insights into the significance of Shukla's experiments on growing moong and methi aboard the space station. Shubhanshu explained that various experiments are underway and growing certain foods is remarkably simple in space.
और आप मूंग और मेथी का प्रयोग का क्या है?
बहुत अच्छा है सर। मैं इस बात से बहुत सरप्राइज था कि लोगों को इसके बारे में पता नहीं था, इन चीज़ों के बारे में। फूड बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है सर एक स्पेस स्टेशन पे। जगह कम है, कार्गो महंगा है, आप कम से कम जगह में ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा कैलोरी और न्यूट्रिशन आपको पैक करने की हमेशा कोशिश रहती है, और हर तरह से प्रयोग चल रहे हैं सर। और इनको उगाना बहुत सिंपल है, बहुत ज़्यादा रिसोर्स नहीं चाहिए स्पेस स्टेशन में। छोटा सा एक आप डिश में थोड़ा सा पानी डाल के उनको छोड़ दीजिए और वो बहुत अच्छे से 8 दिन बाद वो स्प्राउट होना शुरू हो गए थे सर, स्टेशन में ही मुझे देखने को मिले। तो हमारी जो ये टिपिकल जो हमारे कंट्री के ये जो सीक्रेट्स हैं, मैं बोलूँगा सर, जैसे ही हमें ये मौका मिला कि हम माइक्रोग्रेविटी रिसर्च में पहुँच पाए, ये वहाँ पहुँच गई। और क्या पता कि ये हमारी फूड सिक्योरिटी प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करें, जो कि एस्ट्रोनॉट्स के लिए तो एक तरह से है ही सर स्टेशन में, लेकिन अगर वहाँ सॉल्व होती है तो ये पृथ्वी पे भी लोगों के लिए फूड सिक्योरिटी की प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करने में हमारी मदद कर सकती है।
Shubhanshu Shukla met Prime Minister Narendra Modi and discussed a wide range of subjects from space to science and tech to India's Gaganyaan mission. Prime Minister interacted with Shubhanshu and said that India's path to success lies in pursuing space goals with self-reliance. He also noted that India needs to build a pool of 40 to 50 ready astronauts to lead future missions. And he further said that Group Captain Shukla's journey would inspire greater beliefs and interests, adding that India now has two strategic missions ahead. One is space station and the other one being Gaganyaan. Now, Shubhanshu's experience, he said, that would be of a great value in these upcoming endeavours. Prime Minister Modi also highlighted that astronaut Shukla's journey is only the first step in India's space ambitions. On the other hand, Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla said that major opportunity for India under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership is being seen, and he said that government's continuous support leads to success of Chandrayaan-3. Shubhanshu Shukla also said that India can acquire a leadership role in space mission, and he further added that space station led by Bharat with the participation from other nations would be a powerful tool. He further said that the vision for Gaganyaan, space station and moon landing form vast and ambitious dreams, and said that a lot of interests about India's Gaganyaan mission can be seen globally. And he further added that the crewmates expressed their desire to be invited to the launch of Gaganyaan to travel aboard on India's spacecraft as well. And now let's take a look at government's Gaganyaan program, which is India's next leap in space. Well, the Gaganyaan program was approved with a financial outlay of approximately 20,193 crore rupees. It is India's first indigenous human space flight initiative. The mission aims at sending Indian astronauts to low Earth orbit, laying the foundation for more advanced missions. Now, the vision has since expanded to include the establishment of the Bharatiya Antariksh Station by the year 2035 and an Indian crewed lunar landing by 2040. Now, 4 Indian Air Force test pilots, including Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, have been selected and have completed their physical, psychological and generic spaceflight training. They are all set to become India's first astronauts in independent space flight, marking a new chapter in national scientific achievement. Moving on, the monsoon session of the Indian Parliament is underway. On Tuesday, once again, Parliament faced disruptions with opposition's protests. Both the houses witnessed several adjournments during the day. Earlier, the lower house took up special discussions on India's first astronaut aboard the International Space Station, or the ISS, which is a critical role of space program for Viksit Bharat 2047. Meanwhile, the Rajya Sabha took up Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Amendment Bill 2025 for consideration and passing. Prime Minister Narendra Modi felicitated C.P. Radhakrishnan, the National Democratic Alliance's vice presidential candidate, at the parliamentary meeting of the alliance. The meeting, held at the Parliament Library building, was attended by Prime Minister Modi along with Home Minister Amit Shah and various union ministers and other NDA leaders. Upon his arrival, C.P. Radhakrishnan was greeted by Union Minister Piyush Goyal and other leaders ahead of the meeting. Early on Monday, the NDA leaders held an introductory meeting with the floor leaders. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiren Rijiju also expressed hope for consensus across political parties. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will be Radhakrishnan's campaign manager, while Union Minister Kiren Rijiju will serve as his election agent. Moving on to the weather updates now. The Indian Meteorological Department has issued a red alert for extremely heavy rainfall over Karnataka, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Konkan and Goa on Tuesday. The weather agency has also forecast heavy to very heavy rainfall over Chhattisgarh, Kerala, Mahi, Telangana and Vidarbha. Similar conditions are predicted over Madhya Pradesh, Marathwada, Odisha and Uttarakhand. IMD further said that heavy rainfall is also expected to prevail over northeast India, including coastal Andhra Pradesh, East Rajasthan, Himachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh. The weather agency highlighted that the monsoon is likely to be in an active phase over South Peninsula and adjoining central India during the next 3 to 4 days. Meanwhile, Mumbai continues to reel under the impact of heavy rains with severe waterlogging reported in several parts of the city. As a result, mainline train services between Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Terminus and Thane station have been suspended until further notice. Railway officials have announced that shuttle services are currently operational between Thane and Karjat, Khopoli and Kasara stations to ensure partial connectivity for commuters on the central line. Train services on the harbour line between Kurla and CSMT have been suspended until further notice. Authorities have urged the commuters to avoid unnecessary travel. The IMD has further issued red alert for Mumbai and suburban areas on Tuesday for very heavy rainfall conditions. And to get you the latest from Mumbai, I am joined by DD India correspondent Shishir Shelar from Mumbai. Good afternoon, Shishir. What is the latest weather prediction for Mumbai and how is it impacting the daily lives, Shishir?
Well, absolutely, Deepika. Mumbai, and particularly if you look at the adjoining areas, have been completely battered by the heavy downpour since morning, and that's the reason the low-lying areas, particularly in Mumbai, now looks like a flooding situation here. Well, that's the reason most of the people have been affected here. The authorities have already know about it, and that's the reason they've already announced holiday for the school and colleges. Later in the day, we've also seen that the public holiday is announced by the BEMC for the government officials, and they have urged the private offices to work from home for the employees also, because the notification issued by the BMC stated that people, if required only, they can get out of the home. Otherwise, they'll be safe at the house, because looking at the climatic conditions in Mumbai and adjoining area, it's quite tough to travel at this point in time.
All right.
Well, since morning we have seen that the Mumbai is reeling under heavy rains here, and that's the reason the traffic actually on the roads is quite standstill here, because most of the areas the traffic is not moving due to the waterlogging situation on the roads here. Even the railways are actually been affected because of this, and that's the reason the local train services in Mumbai have been completely suspended, particularly on the central and the harbour region. Well, the officials are stating that due to the heavy rainfall and due to the high tide, they're not been able to succumb the waters actually on the railway track here, and that's the reason the local trains have been disrupted here. Well, the next 3 to 4 days is quite important from Mumbai's perspective and Maharashtra's perspective, because IMD has have already issued warning for this region.
Thank you so much, Shishir, for joining us and bringing us the latest from Mumbai. Time to take a short break, but still to come on the other side. After the break, we'll get you an expert analysis with rounded perspective on the expected trilateral meeting between Trump, Putin and Zelenskyy.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back after that short break. Let's quickly take a recap of the top stories of the hour. NSA chief Doval says there has been peace and tranquility at the border, confirms Prime Minister Modi's visit to China for SCO summit, further highlights 75 years of India-China ties. Astronaut Shubhanshu Shukla meets Prime Minister Narendra Modi, gives the tricolour he carried to the space. Prime Minister says India proud of his feat. Russia's president agrees to meet Ukrainian counterpart within next 2 weeks at a yet-to-be-determined location. Trump agrees to extend another invitation for a three-way meeting afterwards. So in a pivotal White House summit, US President Donald Trump hosted Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy and European leaders to broker peace in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Our next report gives you more details, filed by Antra Sinha. Take a look.
US President Donald Trump hosted Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy and European leaders at the White House on Monday, aiming to broker an end to the Russia-Ukraine conflict. This comes hot on the heels of Donald Trump's summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska last Friday. Joining the duo were French President Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, Italian PM Giorgia Meloni, UK reps, Finland's leader, EU Commission head, and NATO chief Mark Rutte. They praised the US president's leadership, with Rutte calling it exciting and Meloni noting a shift toward peace. While Trump dismissed the need for a ceasefire before talks, Europeans pushed back, with German Chancellor Friedrich Merz insisting on a truce first and warning against forcing Ukraine to cede territory. Post-meeting, Donald Trump phoned Putin for 40 minutes, claiming the Russian leader is open to a bilateral with Zelensky, followed by a trilateral including himself. A Kremlin aide called it worthwhile to explore. Trump also hinted at US-backed security guarantees for Ukraine, potentially including arms deals worth $90 billion, advanced weapons, and even buying Ukrainian drones. No boots on the ground specified, but Trump said Europe leads, with America involved for good protection.
There is a package of weapons, US weapons, which we do not have and which primarily includes aircraft, air defense systems. There indeed is a package with our proposals worth $90 billion.
French President Emmanuel Macron said that a Zelensky-Putin meeting has been agreed upon. He added that Trump signaled his willingness and readiness to impose what he calls primary and secondary tariffs.
President Trump believes in his ability to reach an agreement, and he also believes that President Putin wants such a peace agreement. I welcome this, and I want to believe in it after the meetings there were. But if this process were rejected, we also all agree that sanctions would have to be increased, and in any case, a stance would have to be adopted that would put more pressure on the Russian side to return to the negotiating arena.
Russian Special Envoy Dmitriev posted on X saying that an important day of diplomacy today, with the focus on lasting peace, not a temporary ceasefire. Zelensky said guarantees could be finalized in 10 days. However, amid the serious talks, a sartorial saga stole a bit of the spotlight. Ukrainian President Zelensky returned to Washington for what he called their best meeting yet with Trump. Gone was the tension from their February Oval Office clash, where Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance accused Zelensky of ingratitude, and a reporter even questioned his casual military attire. This time, Zelensky suited up in a sharp black jacket, earning compliments all around. Last time, Zelensky's olive green getup had critics crying foul, with Trump quipping he was all dressed up. It was all smiles and style points. Who knew world peace might hinge on a wardrobe change? Zelensky even buttered up his host with a letter from his wife to Melania Trump and a flurry of thank yous. As talks evolve, the world watches. Will this lead to peace or more posturing? For now, at least the suits are aligned. For DD India.
Now let's once again go back to Ambassador Pinakaranjan Chakravarti, the former Secretary of MEA. Sir, Zelensky came to this meeting with a very positive approach. Him wearing a suit signified his receptiveness too. And on the other hand, Trump immediately held a 40-minute call with Putin. And a trilateral meeting is on the cards in the upcoming 2 weeks now. What is the likelihood of achieving a solution to the Russia-Ukraine crisis?
Well, I would say fingers crossed, and at the moment, it seems that Trump is bulldozing everybody to agree to some of the demands, not all perhaps, of what President Putin has placed before him. And these include territorial concessions, vital to what Russia sees as its interests, and which would basically mean that what Russia has occupied already will be kept by Russia with adjustments, I think. Not all of it, but maybe. But then there may be adjustments that Russia will demand of areas that is still not under their occupation. So that is the basic, the most important pivot on which this deal hinges. And I do not know whether President Zelensky will be able to sell this to his own country, Ukraine. But then it seems to be that take it or leave it kind of a thing. And there are various carrots thrown in the billions of dollars of aid, weapons, etc. And of course, to back it all up, there will be some security guarantees. We still do not know what exactly they will be, but clearly, allied to the arms, the military hardware that President Trump is promising, there could be security guarantees. We are not sure as to what exactly they will be. There may be some peacekeeping troops or something else. It's still not clear. And of course, Ukraine will not only have to forgo the territory that it had earlier to Russia, but there may be also other conditions like that Ukraine will be barred from joining NATO, for example, because these were the key Russian demands that were placed, I think, before Trump. Now, the question really is that will the Europeans and President Zelenskyy agree to these kind of demands, which are pretty onerous, I think, because giving away territory, etc., joining or not joining NATO is really a security issue. But territory is a different issue altogether. And President Putin has also, I think, demanded that the West recognize its ownership over Crimea, which they had taken over in 2014. Crimea is very vital to Russian interests, to its navy, and to the Black Sea, which goes through then towards the Mediterranean. I mean, connectivity, the importance of connectivity there, and for its naval ships to be there. Sevastopol is their major naval base in Crimea. So these are some of the things that are likely to happen, but we don't know.
That's
I think, as I said, we should keep our fingers crossed. If it happens, then, I mean, if it's mutually agreed, then and if the war stops, then I think it's good for everybody. But I don't know. I'm a little doubtful still as to the demands that have been made. And Trump is, of course, playing a mediator and trying to, some people say, trying to force Zelenskyy, who is the weakest party here. His country is the weakest because without Western support, they cannot continue the fight with Russia. So I think they are basically, तो हम हिंदी में कहते हैं ना, उसको कान पकड़ के उसको बोल रहे हैं कि आप इसको मानोगे नहीं तो पिटाई.
Right.
Yeah, this is what is happening.
And also, Sir, Trump is also, in addition to this, pushing for an exchange of territories, which you also mentioned, with mutual consent, of course. And Russia is, in that case, eyeing Donbas region that has coal and ore deposits. But would Zelenskyy agree to it? Is it viable to agree to such conditions?
Well, I think the Donbas area, which basically are 3 districts, I think Luhansk and I think Donetsk and Zaporizhia. And I think there will be adjustments, but I think Russia is not going to vacate these territories fully. And they want the whole thing. But as I said, some territorial adjustments as to what they control, what they do not control, both sides will have to sit down and discuss and agree. Now, that is the crucial point. I mean, will there be agreement? I have my doubts on it, and so whether the war will continue or not, that is also up in the air, because now Trump has said no ceasefire but a final deal, which means no ceasefire means that they can continue to attack each other, which is actually happening, and till the deal is reached. So that's the kind of situation that has been Trump has created. Now, let us see whether the Europeans are not on the same page. I don't think the European leaders like this deal at all. But they are, as we say, कि Trump को ना वो मक्खन मार रहे हैं, तो अब पता नहीं क्या होगा.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us and bringing us a rounded perspective on the ongoing situation. Moving on in West Asia, Hamas has accepted a new ceasefire proposal for Gaza after a fresh diplomatic push to end more than 22 months of violence. Israel has not yet responded to the offer. The proposed deal includes pullback of 1 kilometer by Israel Defense Forces from their current positions, except in the areas of Beit Lahia and Shijaiya. In exchange for 10 living hostages, Israel will release over 200 Palestinian prisoners, including 140 individuals who are serving life sentences. Now, for each deceased Israeli hostage, there will be an exchange of 10 Palestinian bodies. Humanitarian aid, along with fuel, electricity and water, will be allowed to enter Gaza. The Rafah crossing will be reopened in both the directions. A 60-day ceasefire will be implemented, during which further negotiations are expected to resume. Mediators, Egypt and Qatar, backed by the United States, have struggled to secure a lasting truce in the conflict. Egypt said it and Qatar had sent the new proposal to Israel, adding the ball is now in its court. The proposal comes more than a week after Israel's Security Cabinet approved plans to conquer Gaza City and nearby refugee camps, which has sparked international outcry. Now, out of 251 hostages taken during Hamas's October 2023 attack that triggered the conflict, 49 are still held in Gaza, including 27 the Israeli military says are dead. The United Nations Security Council started negotiations on Monday on a French-drafted resolution to extend a long-running peacekeeping mission in Lebanon and signal an intention to work on an eventual withdrawal of the UN troops. The UN Interim Force in Lebanon, or the UNIFIL, established in 1978, patrols Lebanon's southern border with Israel. The mandate for the operation is renewed annually and its current authorization expires on 31st of August. The draft aims to make the Lebanese government the sole provider of security in southern Lebanon, provided that the government of Lebanon fully controls all Lebanese territory. UNIFIL's mandate was expanded in 2006 following a month-long war between Israel and Hezbollah to allow peacekeepers to help the Lebanese army keep parts of the south free of weapons or armed personnel other than those of the Lebanese state. Time to take a short break, but still to come on the other side. World number 2 Carlos Alcaraz and Poland's Iga Swiatek back Cincinnati Open title. Up next, we'll give you a special report on the occasion of World Photography Day.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Hello. Johar. And it fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout ho gaya.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching the India News Hour. Well, in India's push towards clean energy, the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry organized the Green Hydrogen Summit in New Delhi. Held under the theme called Aligning Policy, Demand and Technology, the summit included key stakeholders from the government agencies, industry, academia and international community. The focus was on actionable pathways for scaling India's green hydrogen economy. Highlighting India's evolving green hydrogen landscape, Union Minister of State for Power and New and Renewable Energy, Shripad Yesso Nayak, said green hydrogen stands out as a promising and transformative solution.
Green hydrogen stands out a promising and transformative solution. India has made remarkable strides in renewable energy. As of June 2025, our cumulative installed renewable energy capacity has reached approximately 237 gigawatt. It is a matter of immense pride that we have achieved this key NDC target 5 years ahead of schedule. Under the visionary leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, India has set an ambitious yet achievable target of 500 gigawatt of non-fossil fuel-based capacity by 2030. Our ambition is clear. We want to make the India not only a major producer, but also a global hub for green hydrogen export, aiming to capture the nearly 10% of the global demand.
The Kohinoor, mined in India, taken under the Treaty of Lahore and now locked in the British Crown Jewels. The debate over its return still rages on. Did India's Taposh Bhattacharya decodes?
It is one of the world's famous diamonds, the Kohinoor, found in India, taken under colonial rule and still locked within Britain's crown jewels. But how exactly did it get there? Let's unravel the mystery and how a symbol of Indian heritage ended up with the British crown. And why does this 105-carat stone still spark so much emotion even today? We'll start with the origin of the diamond. The Kohinoor, meaning the mountain of light in Persian, was discovered in India over 800 years ago, most likely in the Kollur mines of the present-day Andhra Pradesh. Over centuries, it changed hands between Indian dynasties from Delhi Sultanate to the Mughals and then the Persian and finally the Sikh. Treaty of Lahore. Following the Second Anglo-Sikh War in March 1849, the British formally annexed the Punjab and imposed the Treaty of Lahore on March 29, 1849. As part of this agreement, the young Maharaja Duleep Singh, just 10 at that time, was made a puppet ruler under the British control, and all assets of the Sikh treasury was confiscated, including the Kohinoor diamond. Why India and others claim it? Well, since independence, India has demanded the return of the Kohinoor, calling it a symbol of colonial loot. Archaeological Survey of India stated it was indeed surrendered under duress by a minor Maharaja and not voluntarily gifted. Britain position. Well, UK government has consistently refused these claims, arguing the Kohinoor became crown property legally under the treaty and that British law prevents transferring national treasures. Critics, however, argue that colonial-era treaties negotiated under coercion don't equate to justice. A diamond dug from Indian soil, won by the British royalty and now claimed by history itself. Is it just a gem or a wound that never quite healed? You can lock away diamond, but not its legacy, and definitely not the questions it leaves behind.
And now it's time to get you all the latest from the world of sports. Well, Indian women's cricket selection panel will pick the squad for the upcoming ICC World Cup 2025, set to take place in India and Sri Lanka on Tuesday. The selectors face a crucial decision regarding the inclusion of Shafali Verma and pacer Renuka Thakur. India enters the World Cup with strong momentum after defeating England in white ball series and winning the ODI tri-series involving Sri Lanka and South Africa in April. The team will also host Australia for 3 ODIs as part of their preparation. The tournament featuring 8 teams will begin on the 30th of September, with India hosting all matches except Pakistan games, which will be played in Colombo. In tennis, world number 2 Carlos Alcaraz and Poland's Iga Swiatek won the Cincinnati Open on Monday. The Spaniard won his maiden Cincinnati Open title in a little more than 20 minutes after defending champion Jannik Sinner was forced to retire towards the end of the first set due to illness. After Carlos Moya and Rafael Nadal, Alcaraz is the 3rd Spanish men's singles champion in Cincinnati. He won his 22nd career title and also extended the head-to-head advantage over Sinner to 9-5. Third-ranked Iga Swiatek captured the Cincinnati Open title by defeating number 7 Jasmine Paolini by 7-5, 6-4. Swiatek, who won Wimbledon in July, had failed to advance past the semi-finals in her 6 previous appearances at the Cincinnati Open. Swiatek reached the semi-finals in Cincinnati each of the past 2 years, but lost to eventual champions Kukokov in 2023 and Arina Sabalenka in 2024. In soccer, Argentina's national team unveiled a revamped 31-man squad on Monday, led by Lionel Messi for the South American qualifiers against Venezuela and Ecuador for the 2026 World Cup. Alongside Captain Messi, the squad features several young Argentine talents, including Manchester City striker Claudia Echeverri and Porto midfielder Alan Varela. Argentina will play Venezuela in Buenos Aires on the 4th of September. They then take in Ecuador on September the 9th. Having already qualified for the 2026 World Cup, the 2022 champion lead the qualifiers with 35 points, 10 points ahead of Ecuador in second place and Brazil in third. Well, who doesn't love to look at the pictures and remnants about their past? Photos give us a glimpse of the past and preserve civilizations and events. So today we are celebrating World Photography Day. Let us listen into this report for understanding the past, present and future of photography.
The purpose for the World Photography Day is to celebrate the art of photography, its history and its impact on society. This day is also an opportunity to honor those photographers who capture life, nature, culture, and social reality through their cameras. The first permanent photograph of photography was made by Joseph Nicephore Niepce in 1826. After this, Louis Daguerre developed the daguerreotype process in 1837. In this, a permanent image was obtained from a silver-plated copper plate and mercury vapor. This technique was considered the first commercial process of photography. On 19th August 1839, the French government made it available to the public free of cost. World Photography Day is celebrated every year on 19th August in memory of this event. Pictures bring about social change, freedom struggle, war, movement, disaster. Photos bear witness to every major change. Photography is a means of expressing creativity, beauty, and emotions. It conveys information quickly and effectively in journalism, documentary, and social media. It has a major contribution in areas like advertising, fashion, film, tourism, and science. Today, smartphones and digital cameras have made photography accessible to every person. Social media platforms have made it a medium of sharing globally. Modern photography is using technologies like drone cameras, 360-degree photography, AI editing. The history of photography in India dates back to the British period in the 19th century. Famous Indian photographers Homai Veerawala, who was India's first female photojournalist, and Raghu Rai, who is the member of Magnum Photographers, made an international mark. Today, photography has become a popular career option for the younger generation in India. The theme for World Photography Day 2025 is My Favorite Photo. This theme encourages people around the globe to not only share a photograph they've taken, but to also share the personal story behind it. So has your inner photographer got inspiration yet? Bureau Report, DD India.
And that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download it right now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I am Deepika, and from all of us here in New Delhi, thank you so much for watching DD India News Hour.
Welcome to the fascinating world of Daman and Diu and Dadra and Nagar Haveli. Unravel the rich history